I am passionate about painting. So all the photographs you are seeing there, my creativity. So I love to draw, love to innovate. Okay? Today, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank TEDx for this wonderful occasion and making this relevant topic of discussion as a TEDx event. I'm also wanted to extend my gratitude to all dignitaries, my fellow speakers, and beautiful audience out here. Thank you very much for coming. I am representing a sector for past 27 years called agriculture. Agriculture is very important for all of us, for you and me, not because it provides 27% of the GDP for India, but it can also provide the highest amount of employment for the country. And not only that, actually, it helps to grow food. Without food, you and me will not be here, right? So that's why it is important. So I'm extremely excited and thrilled to, talk about the magnificent marvels of this nature and the resilience it shows. It intertwines with the resilience of nature and the power of persistence. Over the next 15 minutes or so, I will talk about soil. We know about soil, right? I will talk about a tiny microalgae organism and how it correlates with the power of persistence. So let's start with soil. We know about soil, right? We know what is soil. But what we don't know, beneath this lush green landscape and this field we see, there's a whole world lying there. There are organisms, there are pests, there are insects, there are predators who are living with each other and making a different world for them. And not only that, actually, soil is a powerhouse of creating cutting-edge medical technologies. So does it mean soil is a medicine? Yeah, because soil has number of antibiotics within it. There are multiple examples. Let's take an example of the recent future. So something which has been tested by the Soil Research Organization and came into the pictures that melicidin, an antibiotic which exists in soil, can control antibiotic resistance caused by Staphylococcus aureus. So there, in the future, I think there will be many more research that is going to come, and we'll see many more, examples like that. But I have just taken one example of that. That means soil itself is a medicine. Okay. Now, the most important buzzword, climate change. Soil can actually reverse climate change. If we regenerate the disturbed soil, that whatever we have right now is actually help to combat climate change. If you go through a book called Drop Down, 11 out of 25 ways to combat climate change is related to how we deal with soil, how we are making the soil healthy, how we are actually creating the soil more healthier for the crops to come, and helping them to sequester carbon. So actually soil has an inherent capacity to sequester carbon. So soil can actually reverse or delay or fight out climate change. But soil can also emit carbon dioxide. How? Because the way we are doing farming today, the way we are using the farmland, the way we are making industrialization of farming, the way we are tilling, the way we are using tractors, the way we disturb the topsoil, actually we are compelling the soil to emit carbon dioxide. Whereas it was supposed to sequester carbon, it is emitting carbon dioxide. Not good, not great for us for sure. No soil, no life. Why so? Soil is not only responsible for producing crop and helping the crop to grow, it has an important role to play in the food web of life. And we can't live without food web, right? So if the soil is disturbed, if the soil is unhealthy, the whole food web will fall apart. And if the whole food web fall apart, there is no life. So soil is that important. Are you with me? Sometimes say yes, yes. Then I will get to realize. So I think probably I could make you realize that how important soil is. But which part of the soil? It's only the 5 to 8 centimeter of the soil that is at the top level of the soil. That's called topsoil. And that is the part of soil which is only responsible for growing crop. Without a topsoil, you cannot grow crop. And why it is scary? Because we are losing 30 soccer field, 30 football field of soil every minute. And that's not all. The way we are deteriorating our topsoil, if we do not control now, we are living with only 60 years of farming. The scariest thing is that we are living on 2024 today, exactly 26 years from now, 2050, we'll have two-thirds of the soil which are arable today vanished. So it is that important. Do you think without topsoil, you and me can have food? No, we won't live. And it's not for us, it's for our future generation as well. So that's why soil is extremely important to protect, to regenerate, to think about what we should do with soil. Now let's get into the next topic of microalgae. One tiny single cell element called microalgae. You know what? Microalgae designates as all the eukaryotic and prokaryotic organism that has the capability to do photosynthesis. Now, all during our school days, we know what is photosynthesis. So, yes, photosynthesis is a unique process through which solar energy is utilized and convert that to biochemical energy. Microalgae does that. Microalgae, by the way, the first step in the food chain in the sea. And all the important elements that we need for our nutrition, whether it's a protein, whether it's a fatty acid, whether it's carbohydrate, whether it is vitamins, whether it is, minerals, everything is available with microalgae. There are more than 60,000 species that is available of microalgae in this world. Mostly, if we see the basic composition of microalgae, there are three basic components microalgae will have. Number one is protein. 40 to 70% protein it has. When it comes to fatty acids, 15 to 20% fatty acid it has got, and 10 to 30% carbohydrate it has got. So why there is a variation? I have told you there are 60,000 species of microalgae exist in this world. Depending upon the species, this ratio varies. But fundamentally, it has all the necessary element that we need for us to get nutrition. So microalgae, some more facts. So do you know microalgae is responsible for 50% oxygen that we breathe in this world? 50%. They are also capable to take or capture 200 gigaton of carbon dioxide every year. And since when? More than 4.5 billion years they are doing this. Are they fools? Is not it power of persistence? How relentlessly they are helping us? Do you think without 50% oxygen we will be able to breathe? Do you think this 200 gigaton, today we have carbon capture, there are so many initiatives, Just see, the silent warrior for last 4.5 billion years are doing this continuously for us. And you will be amazed to know the toothpaste we use, the calcium carbonate, these are fossilized and the shell of microalgae, certain shell of microalgae. And the fuel we use for our vehicle are fossilized form of microalgae. So do you think it makes sense to know about soil and microalgae? Okay. So, as I have told at the very beginning, microalgae is a total package of food materials. It has everything that we require to have nutrition. That is why even United Nations has declared this as food of the millennium. So you take 1 teaspoon of microalgae powder, you are good. You don't have to take many other things that requires for your nutrition. Now let's think about that. We talk about soil, we talk about microalgae, how they relates to each other. See, I will talk about 3 basic things, how they relates. Number 1, soil fertility. When the soil microorganism interacts with microalgae species, they finally improves the organic matter and organic carbon of the soil. And if you have a better organic carbon and organic matter of the soil becomes healthy. When the soil becomes healthy, you will get better crop, your soil will breathe more, it will capture more carbon, Second, the soil structure. When microalgae species interacts with soil microorganisms, it improves the structure and texture of the soil. It helps to make the soil more porous. It will actually help to become soil more resilient in a stressful situation because it can absorb more water, it can retain more water, right? So that's how it makes the soil structure better for a sustainable world. And third, most important thing, bioremediation. Microalgae, when it interacts with soil microorganisms, not only do what I have told earlier, it also removes a number of toxic elements, heavy metals from the soil in the form of a bioremediation. So is it helpful for agriculture, microalgae? Yes, it is. Soil and microalgae both are extremely helpful for agriculture. When soil are used with microalgae in the form of any other form, if you use in the soil or whether it exists in the soil, it improves the fertility, as I have told. It becomes a fertilizer. So microalgae becomes a fertilizer for the soil. It reduces the dependency of inorganic fertilizer and number of inorganic products which we use to grow crops, which will finally make the soil more carbon rich. It will also help the soil to become more fertile for a longer period of time. Now, soil amendments. So when I use or somebody uses microalgae in soil, it helps the soils to become more porous, structurally better. So it amends, or whatever is the soil's character today, if you use those, it will finally make the soil amends to a better one. It will have a balanced pH, it will have a better fertility, it will be a better place to grow crops, it will be a better soil to sequester carbon. And microalgae also has an inherent capability to act as a pest control mechanism inside the soil. So soil, whether it has a disease or pest inside the soil, it helps to protect, optimize, and reduce the pest population in the soil when you use microalgae. Let's take an example of microalgae in a practical field. So there is a biofertilizer, organic granular biofertilizer that exists in India for the past 5 years, 5.5 years, and used by more than 6 million farmers happily. And then there are 10 agriculture university to support that. If you use this kind of microalgae biofertilizer, which can be grown by any microalgae, from any microalgae product or species, that will be extremely helpful to regenerate your soil's vitality. It has the capability to reduce and optimize the inorganic fertilizer to the tune of 20-30%. It can also improve your soil organic carbon structure to 10 to 15% crop by crop. So what does it mean? So if you use that kind of alternate fertilizer, be it microalgae or be it, we need more research on that will be it something. It will finally help your world to become more healthier, right? So what we should do about it now? So I think we need to really think about it, because this is about our life, and I think each one of us has a role to play. So I think we really need to propagate, promote, sustainable farming, use of alternate fertilizer, use of organic manure, use of natural things, along with, I don't say that, you have to stop everything or we should stop everything. No, but we need to create a balance and we need to have a sustainable farming practice for the future. Most importantly, when we talk about agriculture, we need to really think about an organic and more safer version of substances to be used in the soil, so that we can actually help the soil to become a little more healthier for a little longer period of time. 60 years is not a very long time. Many of us will still be there. Many of us, right? So we really need to think about it, correct? And we really need to encourage research. We need to really, there are government agencies. Everybody has to really play an important role to do a research on this, and further research on this, so that we can find more and more avenues. How can we keep the soil healthy? Not necessarily only with microalgae. Microalgae is one of the option of this, and I'm sure the research will find many. But more so, you and me has a role to play. Because whether you are part of agriculture directly or not, we are all part of agriculture, let me tell you. Can we live without food? You can't, right? So we need to have food. If we need to have food, we need agriculture. So that's why it is very important to educate and build up this awareness. I will sincerely think and request each one of us sitting right here to talk about it more and more, because I don't know how many of you really knew about microalgae and its structure, soil and its importance. We all know about soil, we all know about as a term, but how many of us really know? So please propagate, please build up this awareness, because just imagine a situation. Now I have told the soil and microalgae, they are relentlessly doing this for last more than 4.5 billion years since the inception of this world. Imagine a situation. Both of them are together and talking to each other. And they spoke. Last 4.5 billion years, I'm doing this for these people, for this world. What they have done? They are simply trying to destroy us. Should we stop doing this? Because, to sum it up, these two are very important for us to survive. And if you ask me, my interest is in the future, because I'm going to live my life there. And I'm sure all of you also think the same way. Even if we are not there, our future generation will be there. So we have a very big responsibility to play to make our future generation proud of us, what we have done, not to talk about how we have destroyed their life, their future. Unfortunately, as a painter, as I have told you at the beginning, so I do a lot of watercolor. And anybody is related to watercolor, they knows there is no chance. If you are doing an oil paint, you can rectify a change as many times as you possible, but not in watercolor. You mess it up, that's it. Similarly, here we don't have another plan because there is no planet B. Thank you very much for a patient hearing.